Sports coverage of the NFL has come to East Asia in the bustling metropolis that is Tokyo, Japan. Today we hit double digits, week 10, and we've got a good one in store, as it'll be our visitors taking on our home team. With Charles Davis, as always, I'm Brandon Gaudin. Charles, you talked about storylines in this one. I think it begins and ends with our two quarterbacks, certainly two of the best in the business.
And nowadays, I don't think you can get by for long periods of time without a top-flight quarterback. The way the game is played, with all the responsibility he has and how the game flows through him, if he's not on the top of his game, your team's not going to benefit at all.
The shadow's starting to get a bit longer. Week 10 of the NFL season is here, and we're underway on EA Sports. And he'll go down as this driver start at the 25-yard line. So out comes this offense to take over for the first time. They're led out by the former Sun Devil, their rookie quarterback out of Arizona State.
We're seeing it more and more in this league, how teams love to have athletes back there taking the snaps, guys that can throw it and move around and get yards with their legs if needed. He's one of the best examples that we see out there right now. He can throw for hundreds of yards one week and then run for 100 plus the next. He adds an extra dimension that really confounds defenses when he puts it all together.
Ready? Gotta be lying.
Second and 11. The pass caught by Olave. He's taken down, but able to slip across the 35. 13 yards. A gain of 13. It's a first down.
First down. A gain of 13 yards. The result is a first down.
They'll pound it up the middle with Kamara. One tackle, but then quickly brought down. But a nice little gain. In a word, I would say productive, finding the end zone 3 different times.
Is it possible that you're really underselling it? 3 touchdowns, just going to call him productive?
What do you want?
The guy had a nose for the end zone.
He was good.
He had a snoot for him, didn't he? How about that big-time game?
A solid gain of 7 yards that time on the keeper and a first down. That may be a sneak peek on this opening drive of what this young rookie can showcase, his legs.
And normally, as you start a game, you're just thinking, can he get the snap? Can he hand off? Can he just execute? Instead, he doesn't waste any time unwrapping another dimension to his game, showing off those wheels and picking up some nice yardage.
A full 5-yard loss that time. It's going to make second down pretty tough.
Yes, indeed. That play there, that reminds me of some of the guys that I played with that have that suddenness, able to get into the backfield almost about the time the ball snapped and make a play. How about that tackle for a loss?
Absolutely. He did a lot of that last week when he was named the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. One of the guys on the team would say, hey, we called him the disruptor. And that's carrying forward again.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. Points 1, 2, and 3 in their defensive game plan was to get to the quarterback and knock the ball free. They did it there. Luckily, offense hangs on to it.
Yeah, that's got to serve as a wake-up call, though, because they can't afford to let the ball go over to the defense and miss opportunities. And I'm not saying it happened here, but you know what a good rule of thumb is when a play like that occurs? You know who usually recovers it? The guy who missed his block and let his quarterback get hit.
Yeah, this pass broken up. Excellent coverage there on third down, as that was not an easy one to hold on to. On is the punter, Johnston now, as he sends this one away. Shoves him aside. That'll be a 49-yard punt, 6 yards there on the return. And they will take over first and 10. So out comes this offense to take over for the first time. And they are led out there by their mobile quarterback.
And he's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now because he's coming up with a strong performance in the team's win last week. And you just tell, even early in the rookie season, he's going to get really comfortable out there, and things are starting to fall into place. In fact, in talking to the rival defensive coordinator the team is facing this week, he told me this young man's starting to get it.
The numbers for McCaffrey last week: 18 carries, 110 yards. Another run with McCaffrey
just an excellent performance from them on the ground last week, and that speaks to an offense that is operating at a high level on all fronts. Of course, that man running the ball, he should seem to feel so well. But don't forget about his offensive line. They've really asserted their will out there and are confident they can repeat it again this week.
It's a gain of 17, and it'll give them a first down.
First and 10.
I don't care who you put on him, he's going to be a handful in one-on-one throws.
Yeah, right now, you're right. They're in man-to-man. Maybe needs some safety help.
I would say that'd be a good idea. Double team him somehow. I'm going to have to make someone else beat me rather than let him shred my defense.
And he'll go down, but not before getting this inside the 30. A good pickup there, 26 yards.
I think when they look at their offense, they think to themselves, weapons everywhere, and they want to move the ball around. They want to spread it to different people, but you absolutely know they want to get this man involved as well, and that's what they just did on that play.
Now a run leader off the RPO, he'll keep it. And he'll be brought down with a penalty flag on the field. It was a late decision to throw, and it might have been too late. So a decent gain there on the play, but that all gets wiped out with a penalty.
Well, that's a setback, but all the good play callers, they just move on. They find something else in the playbook. They can attack this defense, and they go right back on the offensive on this play.
And finally, down he goes as they work it inside the 10 to the 7. Big yardage there on the scramble. It gets him a first down.
First and goal at the 7-yard line.
They'll set up a throw. That's caught. Touchdown. Jamar Chase hitting double digits with his 10th touchdown of the season. And his guys have taken a first quarter lead. And he continues to be a focal point of this offense. That's now 10 touchdown catches for him on the year. Justin Tucker for the extra point. And we'll see if this rain affects the team's decisions going forward, but they kick it here, and it's good. That time, a 6-play drive. And it was Jamar Chase who finished it off with a touchdown reception. Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. And they'll start this drive just across the 30. Pretty nice work on the return. This offense making its way back out, led by their running back. And they've used him quite a bit in the passing game as you take a look at the NFL leaders in receiving yards by a running back, and he's right there in the mix. He gets it left side of Johnson. And he'll be taken down, but not before he gets into enemy territory.
That's good. First down. It's a gain of 20.
Back to throw now on first down. Now bottled up. It's out. It's loose. Second time in this game, Charles, the ball is squirted out from his hands. Luckily, his teammate was there to pounce on it.
You're right. Got the lucky bounce, able to retain possession. You know, we often talk about the combine and why do we measure quarterbacks' hands? Is that really a big deal? It's for situations like this. Do you have the hands big enough and strong enough to hold on to the football while being jostled?
Now on third and long, they'll look to throw. And it is caught. And touchdown. Tim Patrick, 57 yards. And his guys are an extra point away from tying this thing up. Late grouping now for the extra point. It's up and good. So these teams match touchdowns here in the first quarter, and we're tied 7-7. A 4-play drive spanning 80 yards. So all even at 7 now as they kick it away. Pushes past it. Oh, it still won't go down. And they got to be pleased with this. He brings it all the way up to the 40-yard line. Tokyo set to go on offense once again. And it's only November, but the playoffs, we know how it works. They'll be here before you know it. If it ended today, they would be the #1 seed.
And that's a great spot to be in, but I love the phrase, if it ended today. And I'll guarantee you, that's what they've discussed in their locker room, in their meeting rooms. Yeah, we know where we'd be if it ended today, but we also know it's not ending today.
Right.
So they've got to continue to play the type of ball that put them in the spot where they're #1 in the conference.
And his throw is going to be incomplete. So after the incompletion on first, now 2nd and 10. Looking to throw. And that'll be incomplete. Took a pretty good shot as he tried to pull that one in. Couldn't hang on, 3rd down.
Let's go now. 38.
He'll look to throw. Short throw held in by Trimble. And he'll only get this to the 47. He needed a few more yards to pick up the first. The offense is not leaving the field. They're going to stay out and go for it on 4th and 3. They'll try and run for it. And he's taken down at the 43, but not before picking up the first. That's a 4th down pickup of 10 yards and an opportunity certainly missed on the defensive side.
That was 4th and what we would call long in that situation, wasn't it? That wasn't 4th and inches, was it?
No, I mean, you get in those situations 4th and 3, 4th and 4. That's a lot to, what would you say, a lot of pizza left in that box.
It certainly is. Not everyone dove in on that one. In today's NFL, this is a passing down. All right? This is not a running down. That takes a lot of guts to call that play and even better execution.
So with the completed pass and the yardage they got, they'll decline the penalty.
So obviously, more yards on the pass completion than they would have gained with the penalty. They did the math. They did it well, and it works for them.
They'll drop the throw. And he's going to be dropped. Back at the 15-yard line. Devon Godshaw getting in there and dropping it. First down, a bit of a disaster, and now on 2nd and goal, back even further. Throws a quick hitter on the slant, that's complete. The catch good for 6 yards, but now it's 3rd and goal.
6-yard gain.
Here we go, set.
7-7, our score after 1. Second quarter now, and it's our home team with possession, as they'll see what they can do on 3rd and goal.
Down. Yellow, 22.
Back to throw here. And he will take it in for the touchdown. Jamar Chase with touchdown number 2 in the game, and now 11 on the year. And his guys have taken the lead. For quarterbacks, there are a number of ways to measure a good statistical season. This is one of them. That last touchdown pass, his 30th on the year. Tucker now to add the point after. And he's got it. It's now a 14-7 ball game. So that drive takes him down the field in 8 plays. And it was Jamar Chase who finished it off with a touchdown reception. The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. And they'll start this drive just across the 30. Pretty nice work on the return. So out now comes the offense back onto the field. Well, partner, fast forward with me for a second. Remember, next week they have the open week, so they're going to get some extended rest. Does that change how they manage the rest of this one?
I think it does a little bit, but not by too much, because you're right. You get the extra rest, you get a chance to heal up and kind of, do a little bit of a reset for this team. But it's also 7 extra days to think back to the last time we were on the field. So now, a little more importance on what they're getting done, because they carry it with them for essentially 2 weeks.
2nd and 2. Loose football. The ball comes out. And some space here. Oh, one of the linebackers has got it. Some guys just have a knack for creating turnovers. He's got a little bit of that going. He forced a fumble last week, another one there.
And it just drives teams crazy because they realize that certain guys, as you said, have that knack, and they're trying to keep them away from the action, away from the ball. But the best ones have that overwhelming desire, that overwhelming need to get to the football and make it happen, and that he does.
60 red. 60 red.
McCaffrey running up the middle. Get him down after a pickup of 8. 2nd and 2.
Offensive linemen love creating space for their guys carrying the ball, but when that guy also breaks tackles and creates extra yardage, they almost feel like he's one of them, and they really embrace it.
2nd down, right back to McCaffrey. And he'll get it here to the 10-yard line. 2 yards, good enough for a first.
Come on, stay.
They'll look to throw here. Now we'll tuck this and run. And he'll be brought down here at the 40-yard line. Now 2nd and 3. Up the gut, McCaffrey. And he is into the end zone for a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey with his 14th rushing touchdown of the year. As his guys are able to extend their lead.
Well, we talk a lot about Christian McCaffrey and what he can do in the open field, and it's easy to gloss over how tough he can be to stop near the goal line. And he shows you just how tough he is on that carry as he takes it into the end zone.
Footing always a concern, but the extra points have been good. And it's now 21-7. Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. And makes it across the 20 as his guys will set up shop at the 23-yard line. The offense back out there at the line, ready for their next drive. And they have the game here followed by the open date on the calendar next weekend. Charles, this is a crew that you have to think really is relishing the opportunity to be on the couch for a few days.
Yeah, they certainly are, but let's face it, partner, they can get caught looking ahead to that couch time while they're playing this one. They've got to take care of business first.
And he is going to lose yardage here. That's going to wind up a loss of a full 3 yards on first down. Another example right there how this defense really is winning the entire game at the point of attack.
Yeah, right there at the line of scrimmage, because they're dominating. It allows their interior guys to get upfield and spill into the backfield. So how are you going to combat that? Because they bring in your tight end, keep him in, your running backs, they have to step forward. Bottom line, the offensive line has to block them first to give yourself a chance.
On 3rd down, drop to throw. And he will not be able to hang on through the contact. It's incomplete. The coverage strong, and now it's 4th down. Now on 4th down, on is the punt team sending this one away. This is fielded inside the 5. Bowles over it. A great return there of 22 yards. And it will be 1st and 10 as they take over. The home team's offense and their quarterback ready to go once more. And he's had things all his way in this first half. The numbers sensational as he'll look to add to them with another drive here. The drive begins with a run by McCaffrey. Shreds into the stiff arm. And they get it down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. A 14-yard gain there as they look to improve this 14-point lead.
Let's go.
41-yard line.
10 what?
Now a play fake here on first down. And a man, and he hits him in stride. And they'll get this to the 30-yard line before crossing over out of bounds. Good yardage after the catch. Is that play good for 30 and a first?
Well, he looked his way quite a bit in this first half, and with good reason. You can see it there. He is such a handful defensively. It's just too hard to keep him under wraps. He delivers a big play here for this offense.
They go play action here on first down. He will find his man Chase complete. And down inside the 15, shy of the 10. Another big hitter there. This one good for 18.
Good strong throw and catch right there. And so far in this game, the alleys have been open for them to get completions, and they're taking advantage of it.
From down at the 12, it's first and 10. They'll look to throw. Firing quickly here, and that's complete. It'll go as a gain of 4. And it's second down.
Here we go. Set.
They run with McCaffrey off the option. And he will maneuver his way down to about the 7. Call it a gain of a yard, and it's going to bring up 3rd and 5.
Ready.
2 minutes remaining in this first half of football. They'll need 5 on this play to move the sticks. They're going to look to throw. He'll try, and he'll take it into the end zone for a touchdown. Taking it in from 7 yards away. And his guys are going to add on to their lead.
Definitely understand where your escape hatches are as a quarterback. Here he's looking, but he knows he doesn't want to force anything. So if nothing avails himself, he slips past the rushers, takes it right at the middle, and takes it into the end zone.
Lying to my damn face, got you feeling cynical. I was at the pinnacle, what was going wrong? Fucking knew it all along, that we think it's all good. It was crazy how time flew, when you thought I'd never know. But now, baby, look at you.
Tucker now for the extra point. He knocks it through. It's 28-7. A drive that time of 6 plays. And in the end, it's capped off by a 7-yard run. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. And able to take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. This offense back out and set to go for their next drive. And this not an easy situation. You're down early, in the elements, you're on the road. How do you get the mojo back?
Well, one thing is to remember that as an offensive player, you have a much better idea of what you're trying to accomplish and where you're trying to go than the defender. So in this case, because you know it, you can make your cuts with a little more decisiveness. Maybe a second fake, some double moves, things of that nature to go ahead and try and put some pressure on the defense.
Short one there, caught by Likely. He's got his first catch here before halftime, and it goes for a first down.
A gain of 4 yards.
Now back to throw. To the sideline and incomplete.
Now with a rookie quarterback out there, you're definitely going to find out how he handles adversity, because this one certainly hasn't gone according to plan. He's got to fight through it and show him what he's made of.
They'll stick with the passing game as he looks to throw. It'll be a loss of 6 yards on the play. And they're going to face an uphill battle here on 3rd and long. Let's see where they go for this play call. obviously tough in this spot, backed up. They'll set up to throw. Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete. Touchdown! Chris Olave, 66 yards. And his guys are able to close that gap just a bit.
As a fan, is there anything prettier than a well-executed post grab?
No, it's a thing of beauty, especially when it's done like that for a touchdown.
The throw, the catch, and how about the run after to get it to the end zone?
Here's Groupie for the PAT. It's up and good, and it's now 28-14. So that drive spanned 5 plays. And it was Chris Olave who finished things off with a touchdown. Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. And they will wrangle him down a couple yards shy of the 30. The home team's offense and their big play wideout getting ready to get back to work. And seemingly every time they've looked his way in this first half, it has resulted in a big play, as borne out by the numbers.
Do you really want to know what I've been through? Gotta take you back when I was 22. Had the worst conversations.
The offense now at the line, ready for their next drive. And not an abundance of time remains on the clock, Charles, but you would think more than enough to try to extend this lead before intermission.
And when you're talking about extending the lead, I think you're talking about aiming for the end zone because there is plenty of time for that. The fallback is to get 3. But in your mind, you put 6 on the board right before the half. That's a heck of a dagger and great momentum to carry into the locker room.
Everybody hands up if you feel the same.
One play has him up past the 40 already, and another 1st and 10. He'll drop to throw. Open man is Chase, complete. And he is tackled inside the 40, not quite to the 35. It's another 1st down as this time they get an even 20. Back to throw. Open man is the tight end, Noah Gray. And he's going to get this inside the 30. Now the offense going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop it with 14 seconds to go in this first half. They'll look to throw again. Now he's going to step up and run. They'll wind up getting right about 4 there on the scramble, and it's 2nd down. Now a timeout taken. Perhaps a chance for one more quick play and then another timeout if they hurry. We'll see. So on 2nd down, the field goal unit is on here as they try to get 3 before half. Tucker's kick is good. So after 4 touchdowns in the game for this offense, this time they're forced into taking the 3.
But you did mention 4 touchdowns, right? So 4 out of 5, not too bad. I think that's a pretty good record for them.
4 seconds, all that remain here this first half as the kick gets away. So halftime straight ahead, and that means we go to Scott Hansen. It is our EA Sports Halftime Report. Scott, take it away.
All right, Brandon, thanks much. Welcome in, everyone, to the Orlando studios. Scott Hansen with you for a quick recap of the first half, which has been strongly one-sided. This is heading towards blowout territory unless they can come from behind and get themselves a victory. Let's find out what happens in the second half. Let's go back out to the commentary team, Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
Thank you. The rain, maybe not quite as heavy as it was earlier, but still coming down pretty good as we prepare for the second half. Forecast calling for more of the same. The rain set to continue as we are underway in the second half. No, a nifty juke there. That is up across the 25 and down at the 28. So now out comes this offense led by their quarterback as they take over once more. Remember, he called his own number on the touchdown run earlier, and that's something he's been able to do with some frequency this season, as you see here where he ranks among NFL quarterbacks. The offense back out there at the line, ready for their next drive. And they've got the lead seeding. What do you expect from them in the second half?
I like what they were able to do on the ground in the first half because they had a lot of success running the ball, and I certainly think we'll see more of that. But I keep an eye on that defense, and I think the coaches up in the box will do the exact same thing. If they start to see one or two guys start to creep towards the line of scrimmage, that'll be license to take some shots downfield.
The RPO will keep it himself. The improv on the scramble there gets him 6, and it'll be second down.
Here we go, set. 45, right. 10.
They'll give it up to McCaffrey. And he'll get this into enemy territory, but not by much as he's down to 48. A couple extra tight ends in the formation here as they line up 3rd and 2. He'll look to throw. He'll try to pick it up himself. And he'll go down, but not before getting this inside the 30. That was a broken play, but it ends up being a good play. The scramble goes for 20.
He's been making himself a weapon as a runner, and the results, they've been welcomed by his offense. My question is about the defense we're watching right now, partner. Even after he got the scramble earlier this drive, it's still devoting enough attention to it. I would expect that after that carry, they'll do a much better job going forward, spying on him on passing downs.
So the ball down to the 16 here for 1st and 10.
Come on, set. Blue, 32. Ready?
They stay on the ground. McCaffrey again. And it will surge forward for about 5 yards down to 10.
They're in a pretty good spot right now with a convincing lead. I think this is where they put on the boxing gloves and start to try and pound them into submission.
Yeah, the offensive line, they've controlled this game. I don't see why that trend would change now.
Set, hunt. Ready, 38.
This is McCaffrey on the give. And he's going to be brought down just shy of the 5 at the 6. And now we're going to get a timeout here called by the defense. And as the two teams talk it over on their respective sidelines, we take a break. Now they'll switch it up here and look to throw. And he takes a shot on the release as this will be incomplete.
I see the surprise in your face there, partner. That is a rare incompletion from him. He's been on point this entire game.
He has percentage completion-wise way up. Not that time. 2nd and 6. And he will take this one in for a touchdown. Jamar Chase, a 5-yard touchdown. And his guys have opened up a very comfortable lead.
Remember, partner, that's a rookie quarterback back there. Apparently, he's getting the hang of this NFL thing pretty quickly.
And 3 touchdown passes. You're right, he looks comfortable. What are they doing? Anything in particular?
Well, they keep talking about making sure they're giving him plays that fit his talents and also maybe shrinking the playbook a little bit. They didn't tell us that. Bottom line, he's really good. Why don't you live your life for bluer skies?
Chase, who finished it off with a touchdown reception. The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. And a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. Chris Olave heads back to the field as his guys get set for another possession. Pretty good game for him so far. I guess he's still got time here to make this a great game, but so far, he's been solid.
I like where you're going with that, because it has been pretty good, but there's always that hint that things can really escalate for him. And right now, they feel like they're somewhat keeping him in check, but he has found the end zone once, but boy, he can explode at any moment.
And when you hit that end zone once, you want to find it. And the ball comes loose. But fortunately, he's able to recover his own fumble. That could have been trouble. The fumble on first down now. Here's second down. And it's incomplete.
We've got to give out a little applause on that play. It has to go to the defense. More good work by them. They've taken away the passing lanes all game long, and you can see the frustration that it's causing because he just about threw that one into the first row.
Pass taken in by his big tight end. And he'll be stopped right at midfield. From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. Oh, and one of the linemen on the other side has got it. And he's going to bring the fumble back for a touchdown. And Charles, look at the big fella. What a rumble that was. Not only to scoop it, but then take it the rest of the way for the touchdown.
And now you know they're going to have to hear about it from now on. The defensive backs, he's going to want to run with them, do their drills, the whole deal. He thinks he's the pace setter now.
It doesn't matter what happens in practice this week, he's smiling. Tucker now to add the point after. And the lead grows even larger here in the third quarter. The scoop and score, always an exciting play in football, and we witnessed it there, grabbing it off the ground and then rumbling it into the end zone for 6. And you can bet they're preaching two hands on the ball here as the kick's away following that fumble return. And able to take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. And now this offense comes back out onto the field. But it's a game that they would rather probably forget about, at least to this point, Charles. And one reason is turnovers. A turnover on the last drive. They had the issue in the first half as well. And that's really, unfortunately for them, helped to put this game out of reach.
And you know they won't admit it to themselves, but we know that winning the game is pretty much out of the picture now. So their bottom line is, how do they play a clean game the rest of this one, right? Take care of the football, no more turnovers, and see how that works.
The result, only 4 yards there on the play. And now it's 3rd and 3. They'll set up a throw. Short one there, caught by Likely. They'll wind up getting just a yard. And that's going to bring up the 4th down. Here's Cameron Johnston now as he's on to kick it away. This offense and their running back headed back onto the field. And as you take a look at the numbers, you have to imagine he was the topic of the halftime talk for this defense. We've got to find a way to slow him down. That's probably what they're saying. But nothing that they have done has worked so far. And able to get it across the 20 before they get to him. Now they can breathe a little easier, some room to operate as they've got it 1st and 10 now out past the 20. They'll run with McCaffrey. They still breaks the tackle. He's got room to run. And they're going to get this beyond the 40 before he's taken down. 92 yards rushing for him so far as his terrific season continues here.
That's pretty much meat and potatoes right there, wasn't it? Just go right at them and let your big horse charge up the middle. Not too fancy there, was it?
Nothing fancy at all, challenging that defense. And on that go-around, the offense won the challenge. They had some room to work. Now he's into the clear again. Touchdown! Jamar Chase, 58 yards. And this offense is running away with this one. So that one is 4th touchdown catch of the game, one behind the all-time record of 5. Point. And the lead grows even larger here in the 3rd quarter. Scoring summary, 3-play drive. And it was Jamar Chase who finished it off with a touchdown reception. Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. Make it to the 25. This offense back out and set to go for their next drive. And Charles, a very uninspired effort. The last time we saw them out there was a quick 3-and-out when they punted the football.
Yeah, you never want to get stopped so soundly during the series, but what would be even worse now is letting it happen again right here. They got to get going.
Now a 2nd and 10.
At the 24-yard line.
Complete to Olave on the out route. He takes us beyond the 35 before going out of bounds. On 1st down, he'll block the throw. And that one's going to be off target and incomplete.
He could have scanned downfield forever, but there wasn't anything available. Ends up throwing an incompletion, and I think he'll take that.
Hawk 70, Hawk 70.
Olave motioning to the left. Back to throw again. They'll get this out to Kamara. And down he goes at the 45 after a pickup of 9. Heavy set out there on 3rd and 1. It's a quarterback sneak. And they will touch him down, but not before he gets the first. Give him 2 on the play there. And that enables him to also pick up the first. Kamara up the middle. And he's fortunate to get anything from that. Give him a yard up to the 49. This defense just continues to bottle up that ground game. And look, I mean, the deficit right now for this offense is so big that it might not matter. But we're still in the 3rd quarter. They're probably going to have to try things through the air, Charles.
I agree with you totally. That's what they'll have to do. They do need to run it occasionally to take a few hits off the quarterback, because right now, you just know those pass rushers are fired up to get after it.
This will be play number 8 here on the drive. It's 3rd and a yard. Out of the gun, they'll look to throw. That's incomplete, but there is a flag down, so hang on. A big call coming on 3rd down. Well, Charles, sometimes we talk about the lengths officials sometimes go to protect star quarterbacks, but that was tough to argue against.
Yeah, and I'm sure that everyone's going to say, hey, we're going to administer the penalty the same way for all quarterbacks. But when it's a star back there, even more so, they're going to be diligent about throwing the flag.
3 quarters in the books. We'll return with more after this. This is the NFL, and it's on EA Sports. Sports, and this is a blowout so far as we get set for the fourth quarter. A very one-sided affair. So signs of life in what's been a dormant offense in this second half. Here's 1st and 10. Back to the ground. It's Camara. He's going to get 4 into this as he's down to the 10-yard line.
He was taken down at the 10-yard line. A gain of 4. It's now 2nd and 6.
2nd and 6 from the 10. Looking to throw. Touchdown. Isaiah Likely. A 9-yard touchdown grab. And his guys are able to at least knock this deficit down a bit. Will be able to add the PAT as they make the score just a slight bit more respectable here in the final quarter of play. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. Solid stiff arm. Solid return, pretty good field position. They'll start at the 32. This offense and their wideout headed back onto the field. And he's had some kind of game. They made it a point to get him involved early, and it has paid giant rewards to this stage of the game. The offense now at the line, ready for their next drive. But not that any of the points would be needed with CD. They've got enough time left to make a different score on this drive, maybe even an ensuing drive as well, if they really want to drive home this landslide victory.
Yeah, we're certainly about to see just how aggressive they want to be here down the stretch. And what some coaches do is they try and meet it halfway, meaning they want to continue to run their offense, but they put in a lot of backup.
Oh, he tries to force it in, and it's intercepted. And they are going to set up shop at the 40-yard line. I'll tell you, far from ideal conditions to play in, but neither offense has had much trouble. Plenty of points to go around. 1st and 10. They'll try and start this drive in the air. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And his guys will take over at the 30-yard line. And I don't know that that fumble's going to matter a whole lot. You look at the deficit here in the fourth. It doesn't matter. The coach on the sideline still scratching his head.
Yeah, not only scratching his head, but probably writing a note or two about, we're going to address this come practice next week because maybe that's the reason we're down this far. Doesn't matter at this point, but being sloppy throughout the game, not going to help him improve.
Now he'll tuck this and run. And taking it to the 15-yard line before he's brought down. Line of scrimmage, the 15. It's 1st and 10.
1st and 10 at the 15-yard line.
Black, 95.
Up the middle, it's Lynch. Fights him off. And he'll be taken down at the 2-yard line. A 14-yard pickup. That's 14 yards on 2 straight plays.
First down. 1st and goal at the 2-yard line.
Set.
They'll run for it with Lynch. And he is into the end zone for a touchdown. Taking it in from a yard out. And the fumble recovery leads to 6 points. Tucker able to connect on the extra point. And this one was over a while ago as they just add on to that big lead. Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. Solid return, pretty good field position. They'll start at the 32. Now this offensive unit ready to see what they can do here. And just looking ahead, it would appear that that bye week is coming at the right time. They'll have 2 weeks to chew on this one. They'll probably not one that they want to chew on. A poor performance from start to finish. They start the drive on the ground. Camara. And he'll be taken down right around the 34 after a pickup of only a yard.
He continues to struggle to find a crease to break off a big one and might need to just put that aside and just try and ram his way forward and get what he can.
see what they have drawn up here. A little bit behind the line. 12 yards needed to gain a first down. Out of the gun now on third down. Had his hands on it, couldn't bring it in. Pretty symptomatic of how this game's been going.
But plain and simple, that's the second time today that he's dropped a pass.
And that one, I think, maybe even a little easier than the earlier one that he dropped, surprising.
Was this game announced as a night game prior to it? Maybe his rhythm was just off. He's got thrown off. He's got to wake up, enjoy the sunshine, and go play.
Taking it about the 16. That'll be put in the books as a 53-yard punt. This offense headed back out, captained, of course, by their quarterback. And he has been masterful so far in leading this offense. He's kept the mistakes to a minimum. He's been on point with his passes, and he's generally been one step ahead of this defense all game long. The offense back out there at the line, ready for their next drive. This has really just been a lopsided affair. What a performance they put on, and now they get the football back here in the big lead in the fourth quarter. The pass, we might be discussing dinner plans, talking about steak and sushi, whatever the case is, CD. This ball game is pretty much well in the books.
Yeah, we really could have started bringing up dinner a long time ago if we wanted to, partner. And I think a few of the guys out in the field already making plans for the evening.
Out of bounds on the other side of midfield at the 45. 1,000-yard season, somewhat commonplace for running backs. Not so for quarterbacks, that's for sure. But that last run, going to move him past the 1,000-yard mark now on the year. Fighting through pressure. Boy, that is a 7-yard loss. Second down now.
Partner, even I can figure out who deserves the lion's share of credit for their lead right now because he has been terrific in a dual threat role, really chewing up yardage and getting them points with his legs. Simply put, that defense has had no way of stopping him, and that's why his side is on top.
And this one's incomplete. Well, their passing attack, even though that one was incomplete, has been really sharp in this one. It's resulted in a lot of touchdowns, and it looks like they're not going to stop throwing the football until the very end of this one.
Well, that will certainly make everyone involved on offense pretty happy because that gives them all a chance to pad their stats a bit. And as far as the actual need, you and I both know they can just run this clock out because this one, it was over a long time ago.
Now a chance to make that big play really hurt. It's first and goal just outside the 5. And they are going to score again. Yet another touchdown as they just add to their totals.
Sometimes you get a first and goal, you're back near the 7, 8, 9-yard line, and you start thinking, maybe we're running here on first down to get half of what we need, so maybe we can have 2 or 3 shots and going for it from closer range. So this is a bonus right here. What a great run to work his way into the end zone.
The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. And they'll get him down inside the 30 to 27. And now this offense goes back out onto the field. But we said it at halftime that they would need a nearly perfect second half to erase that deficit that they were facing, CD. But unfortunately, the second half is pretty much going to carbon copy of the first.
Yeah, that early lead was almost insurmountable the way their opponent was playing. And partner, they do have some good news, though. This one is getting close to being over, and they can try to hit the reset button starting tomorrow.
Here's the first carry of the game for Cam Akers. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. The offense on third down, 5 out of 9 thus far. This time they face a 3rd and 2. Now a shotgun snap as they'll look to throw. And he'll be taken down, but he does have first down yardage. Just 2 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter of what has been a one-sided affair. So it's our visitors with the football as we get you reset. They've got a 1st and 10 as they search for a late score.
Hot 70.
Now on first down, he'll drop to throw it. Short one there, caught by Likely. has now 2 fumble return touchdowns. You talk about something that's going to drive a head coach crazy.
Without a doubt. But for the defensive guys, once you do it once, you create a frenzy. Everybody wants to get involved, and they got it done a second time.
So here's the kickoff now as he'll get it again following that fumble return for a score. And able to get this across the 20, but not much further as he's dropped at the 23-yard line. Chris Olave heads back to the field as his guys get set for another possession. And I know that they've double-teamed him a couple times, but not a ton. Whatever they're doing isn't working. He's up over 100 yards. We'll see how they adjust.
And when they do that, they weaken their defense in other places as well. How many times have we done games where we've seen that they have a big game like this? But it's usually not by himself, is it? It usually opens it up for other people to have big games as well.
Now shot. Now a desperation throw deep downfield. And he's going to be out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. So the big play gets him all the way down to the outskirts of the red zone here for 1st and 10. To throw now, shot. Olave over the middle. Will go down as a gain of 6. And that will bring up 2nd down. Throwing again here, a shot. Now he's going to step up and run. And they'll bring him down at the 13-yard line. Here's 3rd and a few inches. They'll try and run for this with Akers. And he will have the 1st down inside the 10 to the 9-yard line.
Gain of 4 yards. That's another first down.
Now he'll try to run with this. And he'll be stopped just outside the 5 at the 6. Give him 3 on the keeper there and in his 2nd down. Working out of the gun here, shot. Now he'll tuck this and run. And he's across for the touchdown. Too little, too late. But he does get in for 6.
No wonder you're grinning. You just beat me in our fantasy league.
Indeed I did, my good man.
If you're going to play quarterback in the NFL, you've got to have great vision and you've got to remain calm when things break down in the pocket. Both of those traits are on display there. He surveys the situation, sees the middle of the field open, so he's just going to step up and take it himself. Very well done there.
Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. Hopkins, strong running. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get this up to the 29. This offense making its way back out, led by their wide receiver. Now the offense going to use the first of their timeouts. That'll leave them with 2 remaining. We'll be back after this. And he's looking to finish strong. He has been the star of the show as they have just had absolutely no answers for him defensively. Now he's going to step up and run. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. And one of the whistles for a timeout. So they'll stop the clock here in a game that's been decided in the closing seconds.
Ready?
Now it looks like he'll throw here. Looking deep here for Chase. And he bats it away and it falls down incomplete. And now we're going to get a timeout. Somewhat pointlessly called with 3 seconds to go in a game that's already been decided. Gets this into the hands of Bray, the tight end. And he's able to get this one down to the 40-yard line. Well, fans usually love to see scoring, and there was no shortage of it today. What a dominant showing from an offense that was truly playing at an elite level in this contest.
Partner, this game was over a long time ago, and you noticed they did not want to slow down anything. Absolutely a dream scenario for everyone on that offense, and they took advantage of every second. Guaranteed popcorn for everyone in their film session.
So for Tokyo, the great run they've been on continues as they move to 9-1 now. And they will hit the road next week. Meanwhile, for our visitors, it was a game they really needed as they drop back to 4-6. And they'll get a late bye next week, which might be coming at the right time. And they'll be back in action in Week 12. That'll do it for us. I'm Brandon Gaudin alongside Charles Davis. Thanks to our entire crew as well. We'll talk to you next time. So long, everybody.